Hello, hello, hello. Good evening, everyone. Good morning, good time of day. Hello, how are everyone? How are you all? Hello, Stripey Crayons and Emily and Max early as, these things happen. I have been working on, we are on the last leg of this big crochet lace that we have been working on since the beginning of the year, and I have been working on it a little bit off stream as well, and we are on the very last row of stitches and it has quite a few picots, so it is ending up very nice, very time consuming but very cute. Hello, hello. Hope everyone is doing well. I have my little plastic security pin that Spouse taught me to just clip into the stitch when you're crocheting so that you don't lose your stitch anywhere, regardless of pulling or tugging or even it growing very large. I find it very, very useful, so do recommend if you aren't doing it already. And we have our resident void sleeping after a very eventful day. They have been to the vet for their vaccines and annual health checks, and it's not a good time to be a cat. It is many complaints in the car, but it is what is best for them. Make sure they are okay. What will it be? It is a shawl we have been working on. Maybe I should do the whole clip thing before I show it to you, but this is a As You Like It shawl. This one that I made in black for a video like 6 months back, something like that. So it shall be a great big shawl with many different patterns that you can just choose as you please, which is why I find it so fun to stitch, because it is not complex to begin with. It is just YouTube ads, we just started, no thank you. It is not as complex as it looks, which was the whole thought behind it, was that you only choose, a very little section like some stripes or the dragon scales or the hexagons, and you do those until you're tired of them or you want to do something else, or you make the whole shawl out of them. Who am I to control you? But you choose your pieces as you go, and then chat encouraged me to add an edging of lace to it, and I have been working on that very, very, very slowly on chat, because I am quite a slow crocheter to begin with, and doing it while you are trying to interact with chat is also quite ordeal. I have found one mistake that Japanese knitting books, they are just complex beyond my wildest dreams. And I have here, let's see, sorry, we are having some connection issues. I hope it is solved itself soon, but it had, I wanted something a little bit complex with quite clear valleys and dips, and indeed I got it, but because I'm doing it in quite thick yarn, they are also ending up a whole hand span wide. It's as big as my hand at this point, and we just lost our crochet hook because I am classy like that. Come back here before you become a chewing toy for the madam. Good morning from California. Good morning, Kelly. Welcome. I hope you have a good day, or at least a restful start to your California morning. So yeah, if you want to knit yourself a similar shawl, Nico, if that is something you find interesting, it is there is a pattern you can get, or a video you can watch, or you can just make it up as you go. But the whole idea was for people who get scared when they look at big patterns, to have small stitches. You can use the shawl for some fashion from the Victorian era or something similar to it. Yes, that was kind of the idea. I don't actually have a shawl. I made one and I gave it away to a friend because I thought they would enjoy it, and I have blankets and I have this sweater, but I don't actually have a triangular shawl. I have the Suntag my friend made me, but they're a little bit narrower, so I thought this would be a cozy, nice addition. And if we ever get bored of the undyed wool, we could always try to do some plant dyeing shenanigans. Who knows? Maybe I'm sure we will figure out something fun to do with it. Hello from Paisley in Scotland. Hello, Alison. Welcome. Can't say that I can remember having seen anyone from Scotland making themselves known in chat, so welcome. I hope you are well. Are you working on anything interesting, or are you perhaps just resting this fine Thursday evening? We are having, I think last time we talked about how it suddenly got unseasonally mild and how unseasonal mildness almost always gets followed by that last round of snow that always breaks the hearts and spirits of exchange students and hopeful gardeners and all sorts of summer enthusiasts, because there is always one more winter to go, and we are having snow out the window right this morning, right this moment. So indeed, second winter is upon us. Hello, Kay, welcome. Alison is spinning for a colorwork sweater dress. Oh, that sounds so, they look so cozy, the sweater dresses, especially like when they're knitted in colorwork, or I assume you're knitting, but you didn't actually say, you're just spinning. Could be weaving for all I know. But they look so snug and warm and just cozy. It's very nice. Hope other people have similar enticing experiments going on that is bringing them joy. Joanna with a beaker voice. I don't know if I can... Hello? This is not quite a beaker. It is a chalice though. Spouse found this. I can't remember. Maybe chat can, if I cannot make a whole mess, because I actually have tea in it. But Spouse found these very cute chalices. Comes with a little tea strainer as well, and a lid to keep your tea warm. So it's very, very cute. And the lid transformed to a strainer holder. But it has, I do feel... Oh, madam, why are you stuck in my sweater? Crochet hooks, I swear. It's a little red flower and... Ooh, will you focus? I feel like I have seen that before, like that is clearly recognizable as a garden flower to me. I feel like I've seen it before, but I can't quite put my finger on what it actually is. And then I found someone in comment, I shared this in a short, shared that they had found one in a charity shop with mint on it, which I thought was very cute. Love to see it. The sweater dress is indeed knit. Need to spin up more colors. Oh, it's gonna be gorgeous, I'm sure. That sounds like a very fun, very enticing project. Ooh, snow just picked up, like the snowflakes just tripled in size. I love it when they are like huge, chunky flakes. They just look so nice and cozy. Hello, Lynn. Welcome. We are on the very last round of crochet. I don't think I'll finish it today though, even though it's the last one, because it's quite a time-consuming round with lots of picots. Come on. I swear. Kelly is working on a leaf pattern crochet wrap. Ooh, that sounds really nice. Put it down too long and can't remember how I was doing crochet two together. Oh no! That is so frustrating when you put something down for so long and you have to relearn the entire thing. That flower looks like saliva? Ah, maybe, yeah. Could be something like that. It is cute anyway. Can you use the camera search feature in Google to identify the flower? That is not a bad idea. That's what I'm saying. This community brain can figure out quite a few things. It's very exciting. Blue Iris says they are having a sunny fall spring in Canada. Winter will return, then mud season before true spring. Prapu Paisley, my grandparents' farm near Paisley, Ontario. Oh, interesting. Yeah, we are currently done with our fake spring and it's getting the last bout of real winter, so that is quite exciting. Agree, looks like salvia or sage. Interesting, because all the sage that I'm used to usually have. Don't sage have purple leaves? Am I mixing up my herbs? I might be mixing up my herbs. No, thyme is the one with the cute little purple ones. Anyway, they are very cute. Who needs a cat cam when you could have lace cam? Yeah, well, I wanted to sit upright instead of in a leaning chair, so I changed the setup a little bit. And of course, we brought in one of their favorite cat barrels so that she could join us. And so far, she's very exhausted. She's had an arduous day at the vet to get her annual vaccines, but it was a very good vet. It was such a good visit for them. I mean, Soot is very anxious of traveling, of being in her carrier and going to the vet in the first place, and Embla charms everyone at the vet because she is going out of the cage, tail up, and just having a good time and snuggling up to the vet. So she always charms everyone. But Soot is a bit of an anxious little creature. But the vet was so patient and so calm and so chill. They were clearly very much, very, very good with cats, because we find that often they are sometimes better with dogs than cats because they get more dog patience. But this person was excellent with both cats. She didn't chase the cats or anything. She was not impatient. She was not loud. She would sit down on her haunches when the cats were walking around on the floor, and she would just let them roam. And it was really, really nice. It was a really good experience. Even Soot towards the end actually managed to eat some snacks, which he has never done before when we go to the vet, to the point where we stopped bringing snacks because they just wouldn't eat. But both cats were having snacks. Both cats were tail up towards the end of the visit. They got vaccinated. Their teeth were clean. Their insides were squished and approved. And I'm like, very good, very good. All good with our little chirpy baby. Yeah. Hi, baby. So they have done very well and had a very long day and now are enjoying some very deserved rest. Soot is getting on the edge of a little bit heavy, so we maybe need to cut back a little bit on the snacks, but cuddles galore for everyone. Beaker is the name of a small green bird who says hello in a specific intonation. Oh, was that what you were referring to, Joanna? You can't say beaker to a chemist and expect me to connect that to a bird and not the scientific glassware that we use to haphazardly measure liquids in. I feel like that is asking for trouble. Wait, do I have 4 already? I think I have 4 already. Ornamental sages come in many colors of flowers, from true blue to vibrant reds. Oh, I did not know that. I've only been familiar with the Culinary European sage and the small mountain variety in Norway that is the same family but much smaller leaves. I was not aware. I must inspect this because they smell absolutely incredible. That sounds like something I would want to have in a future garden should we ever get one. Yesterday, while I was taking the trash out, I heard the cry of a hawk, which reminds me of my sister wishing me well on my health while I'm currently sick. That is very nice of your sister to wish you well, and it's nice to find those little reminders in the environment. I hope you get well soon, Max, and also how amazing to actually experience some wildlife. It's always so cool. Sometimes when we take the train, we'll see sea eagles resting on top of stones near rivers, and they're so big. My goodness, I know there are larger eagles than the sea eagles, but they are They are large birds. To the point where I have a friend who has a friend who lives on an island with lots of sea eagles, and they had to get Maine Coons because they were the only cat large enough for the eagles not to carry them away with them. Just sometimes I would just get an indoor cat, but that's an impressive size for a bird. Nico says, my pup goes in for vaccines and labs today too. Oh, good luck. I hope they have a good trip. They get a good vet and a good experience. It's always so hard when we can't explain to them what is going on. Hooray for great cat vet. Yes, it was a really good experience for them. I don't think they've ever had, like, all our vet visits have generally been okay, but this was like very, very good. We have never had such a great experience. They've been like normal to okay, but this was amazing. This was really good for both of them in terms of being anxious of the vet and going into their carriers and stuff like that. Yay for finally catching a live. Welcome, Brooke. You are most welcome. I hope you are doing something fun or resting, taking care of yourself and your body's needs, such as it is. Kay says, I'm kind of hoping it will be a few more weeks before the trees in front of my window get their leaves. Watching the birds is so easy right now. Oh yeah, the cats agree. The birds are very easy to spy on from the windowsill when the bushes are free of their leaves. They are much enthused of all the sparrows hiding in the branches of the bushes. Beaker is also a much abused Muppet lab assistant. I was not aware of this. I don't have a lot of knowledge of Muppet lore, sadly. But that is a good name for a Muppet, you must admit. I missed the beginning, I'm here now. Hello, Myra, welcome. We are having a chill, trying to crochet a lace edge for the shawl. And people are sharing their exciting needle binding and spinning and other fun adventures. Me, myself, and I says hello. Hello indeed. Welcome. We are having some new faces today. How exciting. Here in Ontario, we get ruby-throated hummingbirds who adore culinary and tropical salivas, tubular small flower. Scarlet Texas saliva coquinea is a special favorite. Oh, that sounds so magical. Like, hummingbirds to me, because they're native to Americas, sound very exotic and very magical. A bit like people in Spain growing oranges in their backyard. Like, that's not something I grew up with, so it always seems a little more special. And when people talk about those stories, it's just like, wow, that's a very interesting thing to experience, because I have nothing similar to that. But we have very cute local birds all the same. Some very pretty songs as well. Have you done some craft with cat here? Asks the Jones. I have not. I have been tempted sometimes, but I cannot say that I have yet. Even though we do try to brush, especially Embla, who is long-haired, at least, once a week regularly, so that she can get a little bit fewer hairballs, hopefully. I mean, one can hope, but she is currently more interested in eating the brush than being brushed, so hopefully she will grow into it. We shall see. They are patient with the nail clippers though, which I'm very grateful for. They are like tiny, feisty flying jewels. Oh, that sounds really incredible. Salvia? I mean, that was interesting because I was curious about why you were saying salvia as if you were saying saliva. That was what I'm reading because I'm used to salvia as the Norwegian name, but that the English name is sage. So I was curious as to why. It was popping up in chat repeatedly. Are you differentiating between sage and salvia with like different species? Because that is a little bit confusing, since that is all we call them in Norwegian is salvia, but when I see it written, I just think saliva because English is making a mess in my brain. Hello, Slime Kitten Void, welcome. We are discussing all kinds of plants. Salvia is just the scientific name? Ah, is that what it is? Because it's also the Norwegian name, like we just call it salvia. So I was wondering why it was cropping up, but if it is the scientific name, that makes sense. Although equally a little bit confusing, since it is also the common name in Norway. Ah, Salvia officinalis, I see. That is what is getting me tripped up. I need to read up on my Latin flower names. We got a little bit when I was working as a landscape gardener at my university because we were so many different people from so many different countries that it didn't help to say that you called something whatever name you were in your native language, because people would not get it. So we would just call them by like Latin names, and that was so much easier for everyone to understand. So that is where it's coming from. I have lived around at least 2 different species of hummingbirds for many years. I've even held one that got trapped inside, and I still think they feel exotic and special. Yeah, I can understand that though. They're so different and so cute. Just joined in. I was just wondering what you are making. I am making a shawl. We have been working on this shawl for a great long time because I am a slow crafter indeed. Oops. But it is a shawl of many different lace knit patterns. It is almost finished. We are making progress, which is good because we have been working at it for many months, because I am slow, especially when something is not becoming a, regular long form video. But right now we are working on the lace edge, the final picoed edge of this quite large piece of crochet lace, which I find very, very amazing. I found it in a Japanese crochet book and took a printout, and it is much complex and very fun. Great fun to be doing. Although with my yarn it ended up being quite big. About a handspan wide, which is not quite my plan, but it's still ending up very, very fun. And I got my wish was that I wanted something with very clear valleys and peaks, so that it had a very wavy look to it, which is definitely something we accomplished. The image of English making a mess in your brain is funny to me. I'm picturing a fussy little professor wandering around the inside of your mind, knocking over books and dumping project baskets. I mean, that is a relatable mental image, to be sure. Usually they live in separate boxes, with Norwegian over here and English over here, and when I switch, I just switch entirely, and my thinking switches to English too. And so that's when I kind of get tripped up when I encounter a word that I've only seen in Norwegian before or in English before, and then suddenly it's being used in the other one. It's very like smørgårdsbord, which is a Swedish word that is getting used in English for a type of serving food. It throws me a bit because it's a new loan word, and I'm like, oh yeah, right, that is actually a thing that is getting imported into the English language. And then we figure it out, and sometimes my brain is confused. Because languages do be challenging and alive. In my experience in English, salvia is mostly used to refer to Salvia divonurum. I wonder if that depends on where you are and what sage species are most common. I like sage though, it's such a nice herb. It's so tasty too, like I will have it in my tea in winter, especially if I'm brewing a bit of a cold, and it's so good. Can you please tell me whether the lace border pattern can be found for free online? And if yes, where, and if you purchased it? I am afraid I found it with a Google search and I cannot for the life of me remember. I want to do a reverse search and see, because it's clearly from a book. It has a book page and everything. I would want to figure out where it came from originally and give it proper credit. But I could not find it on the original one. I might have to do some more searching and see if we can find anything and share it in the Discord, because it would be nice that we have a proper sharing link, if such a one can be found. But I did not pay for it. I found it in an image search and was like, this is the lace for me. Although I would have paid for it if I had found the source. Perfect and highly relatable image. Making great big messes in our noggins, yeah. I run a craft program at the library I work. I had only a few left over of each project, not enough of any one project, so I had a craft smorgasbord. Oh, I love that. That is fantastic. That's such a great idea as well, so you don't end up with a lot of, tiny bits of supplies for things you can't use. I think that's a great idea. I'm sure the patrons had a lot of fun with that. I had a friend who's doing her PhD in art. Because all of her academic work has been in English, she finds it difficult to talk about her research in her native Hungarian. Very relatable. I would struggle to talk about environmental chemistry in Norwegian as well. We had, especially for STEM, the university, at least that I've been to, goes very hard for English, like your textbooks. I can remember having one semester taught with books and teachers being taught in Norwegian, and then as soon as you get the international professors who are they can converse in Norwegian, but it gets hard when the students are talking really fast. They will ask if they can teach in English because they're more comfortable in English, and generally the students will say yes because it's all right, and the textbooks are in English anyway. So I remember from the second or third semester, all our education and lecturing was in English anyway. So I find it quite challenging to talk about advanced chemistry concepts without actually using the English language. You kind of have to do a double take and start translating in your head again, which is not something I do for any other subject, because usually you have a bit of a buffer of words. But even with fellow professors and lab technicians, I had a Spanish engineer who was an amazing engineer who taught me a lot. And she could speak English, Spanish, and Norwegian, all of them fluently. And we would always be joking about, why are we speaking in English? We might as well be speaking in Norwegian. But it was just the de facto science language. It was just how it was. Love your sweater. Do you talk about it in a video? I did make a tiny video about it, but it was only about how I actually hadn't filmed it and then did a tiny photo shoot at the end. I actually have, oops, that was 3, we were supposed to do 2, a little pattern of it on my website, but it's just a very basic raglan sweater and things like that. It's a lot of fun. But I wanted to try to see if I can make the pattern into a cardigan, and I would film that if I ever got around to do that. So we shall see, but it's the same concept for sweater and cardigan, like all the leaves are all the same. Let me see, can I find that? Do I have it hanging out? Glorious leaf knit sweater pattern. Let's see, I hope that should. I hope that should work. Copy. Where did where did my chat go? There you are. Paste. There. If you are curious, but it is like very much follow the diagram and just expand with raglan increases, and it ends up being a very loose, like this entire sleeve is the same width until you get to the cuff, and same with the body, because I wanted a loose fit, so it's not any like increases to fit your body. You just measure wherever you are widest, which for me is the bust, and then you sort of calculate. You do a little swatch, or you start with the collar and you sort of measure how wide your leaves are, and then you do some math and you figure out how many leaves you need to get all the way around. It's a bit of work in terms of a pattern, but I like those kinds of patterns because, at least to me, I find that they are more accommodating to different types of sizes, not just small, medium, large, or whatever, so that people can actually, even though it's a bit more work on the crafter's side, they can actually get a sweater or a garment of kind that actually fits them, because it's based on measurement, even if it's just one, rather than arbitrary values of whatever that we assume people have for their bodies, which we know is not true. Have you done needle felting? I've started and it's fun, like slow sculpting with wool. I have not tried needle felting, the Jones. I have seen people do it, and I'm always very amazed at the things they're able to sculpt from basically nothing, but I haven't had an opportunity to try it myself. But it looks like a lot of fun, especially splashing with the water and the soap, and unless you're doing it with the needle. But the felting I had as a child was definitely of soap and water and much rubbing type, and the needle looks fun, stabby but fun. And we are about to have some ads, which on this channel means that we are taking a break. You're not missing anything if you get an ad, but if you have some hydration of choice, we encourage to stay hydrated. You have YouTube Premium, so no ads? That is very nice. Spouse pays for that for our household too, but and it is a very nice luxury, I will admit. Still, we find that the ad breaks are generally quite short, which is quite nice. Almost. How far? Yeah, we are almost at the curve, which has, I don't know if you can see this, but if the other one has a lot of picots, the curve has an amazing amount of picots. It's a little bit intimidating. I don't think I shall be managing to keep count, but hopefully we can be guided by the little picots on the layers below, because it shall be quite difficult to do while while trying to talk to chat. 9 picos in a row when everyone else is 3. I'm so excited. Yesterday I was finally able to really get the hang of crocheting. Ooh, congrats, Myra. I've been a knitter for over 60 years and could never get the tension right on crocheting, but yesterday I did. Oh, that is fantastic. I love to see it. That is so fun. Yeah, I have relatives who struggle with the same thing, where they're like, no, I'll never get crocheting. I tried and it's just not happening. And it's a bit sad, I feel like, to feel restricted in that way. But so how fun that you actually managed to figure it out. That is really, really exciting. Imagine all the things you can make now, all the hybrid crafts. All the hybrid crafts that you can do, because you now can, combine crocheting and knitting and make fun little scalloped edges to your knitwear and what have you. I have found that to be a lot of fun after my friend taught me the basic stitches, and I am still using those very basic, triple crochet and chain stitches, and a little help from chat from people who have more experience crocheting, and suddenly we are making all sorts of patterns. It's all the fun. It's very nice. We'd love to see people picking up new crafts and having fun with it, because then you can do more mixed media, and I love to do mixed craft, mixed media project. Oh, this was where we made the mistake that we fixed sneakily. I shall. So it's a little bit wonky, but I think we shall manage to get something serviceable. Amigurumi is a great way to start with crochet, but also you will have tight tension for the rest of your life. Very true. My friend had me working with a much larger crochet hook than was really necessary for the yarn that I was working with, and she did say that it was because I needed to use it until my tension was loose enough by itself, so that you could actually get through your stitches and do the next rows and the next rows. But it's hard because it's quite different from when you are knitting. Like, it's not quite the same. This is a relaxed space and you don't have to share where you're from. Indeed, Stripy Crayons, we do not have to. People can if they want to, but it is not in any way, shape or form a requirement at all. We are just chill and hanging out and having a good time, and every human is a human being, which is always good to remember that people are human beings first. We can't help where we were born. I've been working on a corset belt in crochet, and having a fairly tight tension makes for a nice firm fabric. Ooh, that does sound very nice, being able to control it like that back and forth. Very exciting. This is looking a little bit wonky, but if we just... Okay, what if we add the other one here? We might be able to save that. We don't quite have enough stitches right here, but it has taken me too long to get to this stage. I will take this one little miscount and hide it, and since I'm only making it for myself, I shall forget it was ever there. My daughter is just about to have her first child. I'm hoping to do a simple little crocheted blanket. Oh, that is so sweet. It's a very good first project. I like blankets because they are like so... They're very friendly patterns. They're often like it's quite repeating and it's very nice. I think the folks here can think with enough nuance. Yes, I think so too. We have a very friendly and very thoughtful chat, much so than many other chats that I have encountered in communities that I've seen with friends and their content. It's very, very nice. It's a very supportive community. And I am so happy with everything that I see shared in here and the Discord because people are just so thoughtful and kind to each other, and it's just so amazing. And then everyone gives me credit for making a good community, and I'm like, you all are the ones creating it. Come on. I just check in on the Discord, make sure no spam bots have gotten in, and you are the ones having a good time and chatting, and I just love to see it. It makes me so happy. It's so nice to see people just supporting each other and having a good time and being creative. Like the Creative Show Off channel has got to be my favorite because people make so much glorious stuff. It is so fun. So if you're new here, like in the pinned comment, there is a link to a Discord server. If you find that there is not enough community for you in these live streams, you can join there and have more crafty friends to have crafty discussions with outside of live stream time, and it is very, very supportive. It's a very good community. It's been growing a lot too, I feel like. Oh, it's still small at around 300 members, but they are such good members. Gotta love my community, or our community. Congrats on the grandbaby. Yes. Oh, that's gonna be so sweet. Although I must say, a friend of mine had her second as a home birth and I assisted, and it was a wild ride. A midwife did not arrive until half an hour before the baby came out, which was intense. I had not planned for, like I had planned to come and be an assistant, but I had not planned to actually be worried that I would have to catch the child myself, and we were getting quite nervous towards the end of it, but very interesting. Don't think I will ever experience anything like that ever again. Many amazing things happening. Your grandchildren being ages apart. Oh, like my other grandchild was a girl and she's 29. Yeah, so quite a almost 30-year-old age gap. How exciting to start the process, being a grandmother again. Your grandchildren being ages apart is like me and my cousins. My cousins are about the age of my mother. Even my great cousins are a handful of years older than me. Oh, that is so interesting. I always had classmates who had that, but our family didn't because it's very small. And it's, yeah, my cousins were always pretty close to me in age, like a little bit older by a few years or a little bit younger, but we did not have such enormous age difference, though I did have a classmate whose brother was 30 years older than her, and that is always, it makes for an interesting thing. Homebirth must have been intense. It was, and the only reason she was allowed to do was because she already had one child and it was a low risk. Like the first one went smoothly and the second was also a low risk pregnancy. But as Lynn says, there is a reason midwife is a job on its own, definitely. Like, I'm here to hold hands and bring water and snacks and rub bellies or backs or whatever you need. I was not prepared to actually do medical shenanigans. Like that was not on my list of things that I was expecting. That was quite intense, but both safe and sound, mother and child, and everything good. So all good, that all's well that ends well, I feel like in that case. It's very, very good. wonder if I shall have time to figure out what to do when this project actually finally finishes. Wait, we're not supposed to be a treble crochet there, madam. A regular crochet for the 3D effect, or at least the valley effect. Max is giving me their cold, getting a bit of a runny nose, but oops. Hopefully it shall be nothing big. Almost at the corner one. I was excited for this one. This is one of the reasons I really liked these patterns, was that they have a corner for the 90-degree turn, so that you don't just try to make it work however you can. There is a way to design and make it a piece that is its whole own thing, which I thought was very... Hi, can I help you, madam? Are you wanting some attention? Am I talking all over your nap? You know, it's very rude. He's a good girl. I love a good trill. They are so cute. It's such a cute sound. And then we get purrs on top of that. Cats are magical. Is there a word for a man who is a midwife in English? There is one in French, although it's not well known. Oh, hello. I'm not aware of there being one in English or in Norwegian, but they're ever trying to make slightly more gender-neutral terms for things, so I'm wondering if that might be something that is coming. Double cat cam, both in frame and out. Hi, my sweet. Or did you decide that you were not getting enough attention? But it might... I haven't thought about that until now, because I mean, I just think of the words separately, but midwife, if I translated the Norwegian word directly, instead of just, midwife, which is the correct term, it would be earth mother, which is... I wonder what other languages word for midwife would be if they were, directly translated rather than, I think, what is the word? The literal translation as opposed to the practical or use case. You are very cute, my dear. That's what I mean when I was like, will she actually allow me to finish this without... Will you tolerate a little bit on your back? Saying a little bit is maybe tolerable. Maybe. Barnmorska på svenska, so that is child mother in Swedish. That is very interesting. So child mother and earth mother. That's neat. It is a bit neat, isn't it? I'd never thought about that until just now. In German, the word would be lifting wet nurse. Huh. Cool. The female one in French basically translates to wise woman or wise wife. Yeah, I like that one. There are so many good ones. That's really fun. It's such an important and old craft, huh? I like wise woman or wise wife. It's good. And child mother as well. hebamme, so heben, to lift, amme, wet nurse, or nanny. Amme, yeah, amme is the same in Norwegian as well. Amme is also like either nursing or a nurse. Just one word we still share. That is cool. There are so many cool. We get into these etymology chats in chat rooms once in a while. They're so cool. The origins of words is so fascinating. Mid-husband, but mostly as a joke. Also man-midwife, but likely gender taboos would make it hard to have that profession. That's a good point. I mean, just a bit like gynecologists do have men and female practitioners, but there are a lot of people who prefer to go to a female presenting gynecologist for, you know, safety or trauma or whatever reasons. And there are some stigmas attached to those jobs. And when it comes to other kinds of, when it comes to male presenting people having them, which, I mean, when you're in a vulnerable situation, it can be nice to have someone with a body that functions at least somewhat similarly to your own. But I don't know, having had and no children. I knew a couple of male students back when I was in med school. That is really cool. It's it's very nice to have that kind of different professional representation. Like, I like the mixture both ways. I want there to be representation for both, and for there to be acceptance for both, because why not? You and your eye gunk, my love. But the vet says not to worry unless it's yellow or yellowish green. If I remember correctly, the Dutch is fairly neutral, translates to maturity care, or like both the care and the carer. Oh, I like that. That is really cool. It is so nice when you have languages who are like gender neutral by default, because they don't really have gender specific pronouns. It's kind of, wouldn't that be nice? Hello, my sweet. This is not your crochet hook. No. You can have other chewing sticks, although you insist that you do not want the metabi sticks that are bought specifically for that purpose. Yeah. In modern German, they are using Geburtshelfer or Geburtshelferin, birth helper in masculine and feminine form, for the job description. Oh, I like that. That is very nice. Like, birth helper is a very nice word in many ways. Madam, I'd wanted to make it at least to the corner with this without you eating my crochet hook. Can we do that? Truce? Or is this too enticing a toy? You're usually quite good with yarn. Beautiful girl. I feel like I am playing with fire when it comes to I also think it's so nice that we are getting more gender representation, more male presenting nurses, and in different professions too, because it can be scary. I've heard stories of, you know, fathers coming in with their young boys and the young boy being scared of undressing in front of the female nurses and asking for a male nurse, and it's so important that they too get that kind of safety of being able to choose whether they feel safe. Maternity, can't type that. I was wondering if that was what you meant, but I wasn't quite sure, not being of your language specification. It seems scary to guess. Might be that it specifically refers to the additional help parents get the first weeks after birth. I think it's sometimes the same person, but not necessarily. Oh, so, pardon? Like the doulas, I think, that are like, I hear more and more about in the English language, which I love the concept. Because so often, like, there's so much care to the pregnant person, ahead of the birth, and then maybe they have one test or check-in after the birth, and then you're just on your own to care for a whole new human being. And that can be very scary and very overwhelming. That I would find it quite overwhelming without any sort of follow-up beyond the vaccination and health checks of the child. Like, what about the new mother who's just had their world turned right upside down? I have not lived there in a while though, and the bits I know secondhand through my sister. Yeah, that is fair enough. Language chats are always interesting, because we end up with lots of different interesting tidbits. I have been abandoned. My child has left me for different places of the house. Hello Alex, good evening, welcome. I hope you are having a good Thursday today. We are on the last round of crocheting this lace edge for the shawl, and I am quite excited, although also a little bit nervous about what we are actually gonna start next once we are done with this project, because this project has been such a good eternity project for a good while, and we're gonna have to find a new one. Now that's a bit scary, a bit exciting, but also a bit scary. Like, we have to do some thinking work about what to do next. Oh, is this actually the corner? It is! We are at the corner, and I haven't even, 3 and then 2 and then 9, as opposed to 3 and 3. So picos 4 days. Almost done? Yes! It is. So we are at the corner now, so we have half this round left, but it is a very slow. On the other rounds, I've been able to do half a round in one live stream, and I'm not sure I can do that on this one because there are so many picos. It's so slow. It's gotten so big. But we are so close to get in there. Anyway, how are you doing this fine evening? Oops. Here we go. I also wonder, because I googled this, and there's supposed to be a function, not necessarily relevant to right now, but there's supposed to be a function on live streams that you are able to, that you as viewers are supposed to be able to clip parts of the live stream. Like, if I say something that resonates with you, you're supposed to be able to click a button. But I tried to look at a live stream of some other people and I could not find the button, so I was like, am I doing something wrong? Do I not have this feature? Is this a feature that is accessible to you? It's supposed to be next to the sharing button on the desktop, but I did not see it. So I'm wondering, how do people actually clip from live stream? Because I've seen creators who do that, but if I don't see the button, what is actually... Is it a regional thing? Is it a local thing? Is it a size of channel thing? I wonder. Because I've been curious about whether I should tell you about that feature and like encourage you to do that, because it would make it easier for me to make a short or two if I have something that you all like. We could have a little section in the Discord where you could share those things, but if I can't see it, then there's a good chance that other people can't see it either, and I'm just very confused. About the chat, I see scissors. I'd bet that's it. Interesting. So it does exist. Then why can't I see it? Is this a regional thing again? Because sometimes I read about things that are available to US residents and I cannot see it. And I'm like, I would also like this feature. There's a little pair of scissors on my phone. Ah, so it does exist. Huh. So maybe we can encourage people to do that. I'm also on mobile? Huh. Interesting. Good time of day, friends. Good day, Sarah. Welcome. We are having some tech talks about strange things we are seeing or maybe not seeing in our... Wait, I'm also trying to count at the same time, which is going swimmingly. I see a fragment button. Oh, interesting. So maybe it's different languages in different... But even if it was a different language, why don't I have a button at all on mine? Never tried it? Yeah, me neither, Lizette. I have never tried it. I've just seen other creators do it or discover it in their studio, and I'm just like, I don't understand how this works. Right under your feet, it's on the right, a pair of scissors, 3 lines, and an X. Yeah, when I was checking out other people's live streams, I did not see that at all. But it's good that some of you have it, so that is very nice. Might be a matter of privacy laws. Yeah, that is interesting, because I did find a little clickety button that I can click on for you to be allowed to clip the live stream or not, and that is selected, so I should be able to do that, but I still don't see it on my end. Sometimes I swear this is as if it's the first year I'm doing this, because there are still so many features that are very confusing. I can for the first time see the scissors icon. Oh, for the first time, Leart, how interesting. You have also not been able to see it until now. Huh. Above the live chat, the scissors go to name your chat in Canada on an iPad. Huh. I am, if possible, even more. Never mind, I seem to have it? Huh. So most, at least people who are commenting, seem to have it. I see the scissors button too. Okay, so maybe we can do that. Can make a little live clips thing in the Discord, and I can be like, haha, if you share things you like, maybe they become little shorts, because goodness knows I hear about shorts being a good thing, and I cannot for the life of me manage to produce any sort of regularity, because it'd be hard to think about things to say every day. I know this might seem strange, considering most of what I do on a live stream is talking and reading chat, but I spend most of my day in silence. I don't generally talk unless I'm talking to someone. Like chat, I just sit around and think and write and don't talk, so having to do that for little shorts, it can be difficult, although I'm also finding it quite fun recently when I've tried to lower the bar and make them quite simple and easy, to make them easier to produce. Oh, we are about to have some ads again. It's been a while, that is good. So having a little break. I have run out of tea, so I shall be pouring myself a new cup if I can find it. I will find the mute button before I make all the metal noise. Alright, most of the noise I think dealt with, so we are back. Honestly, kind of wild that it's not turned off by default. I know, right? There are many features that I wonder why are not turned off by default, but here we are. I just tried it, very cool. Oh, nice, Brooke, how exciting. I have never actually tried it, neither with my own stuff or anyone else's, because I haven't been able to find the button. But apparently it exists for most of you, which is kind of reassuring. It's available in the Netherlands too. Okay, so it's not a US and European thing, because Lynn found it too in France, so who knows what the parameters are. Is this the third? Let's see, no, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and then 1, 2, 3, and this is the 9th, so that should be all the 9 picos of the edge. Honestly, this is giving me kind of want to do more crochet shenanigans vibes, but I think maybe it is time to try to knit the cardigan that I have promised Spouse for at least over a year now. We have the yarn and everything, and I really should get going. Maybe if we start that after this one, it'll be done by the Yule season and the gifting season. Maybe it's the feature that you have to activate in your settings, perhaps, like as a viewer rather than as a creator. I could have a look at that, because those are quite a different set of settings. You're right, Joanna, I might have a look at that. On my phone is right there, but I didn't see it on my laptop. Interesting. Perhaps that is the problem I'm having. Who knows? I talk to myself a lot, but it's never interesting. Sometimes self-reassuring is an important thing. My self-talk usually consists of what was I about to do a second ago? Oh yeah, I can relate to that. You go walk into a room and immediately you forget what you were supposed to get or do or fix. And you have to go back and retrace your steps until you remember what you were actually supposed to do. I'm also very curious, and this doesn't actually have any bearing of the project because I do have more of this undyed thin yarn, but what do we think for the last edge of the crochet edge? Do we think this little ball of yarn is actually going to be enough, or am I going to have to burst a completely new ball of yarn to actually finish this project? Because it will be very satisfying if you were close to if we actually managed to do it with this little ball of yarn, but I'm not so sure because crochet uses so much yarn. So guess we shall see. Alex says, I just shared my hand-spun sweater in the Discord. I finished it yesterday, so I'm also having trouble finding a new big project to work on. I was working on it for almost a year. Ooh, yes. Can relate. Do you have any ideas? Like, do you have any inspirations or colors or particular garments that you are leaning towards? But also, yeah, congrats. That is a fantastic achievement. How amazing to finally finish a big project like that. It's so cool. Well done. I'm glad I'm not the only slow crafter. Then again, you did, if there's a handspun, you did also spin the whole, all the yarn for the sweater in the last year, which makes you infinitely faster than me, because I did not spin my own yarn and this still took me many, many months. Kelly says, it took this whole live stream to figure out where I was in my pattern. I had completely overlooked the checkoff list I was using to track. Oh no! Oh, that is frustrating. Yeah, sometimes keeping track is difficult. And I don't really like marking directly in my pattern either, because what if I want to reuse my printout or my screen or... And sometimes I have it on my phone, and that's alright because you can color in the pattern repeats, but then you have to keep your screen on and it's a fuss. And it can be a challenge. Off to work, can't wait to see things in the Discord. Have a good day at work, Kelly. I hope you have a good one. Lissette say they just bought 5 kilograms of raw fleece. Ooh. That is exciting. Do you know what kind of project you're going to use it for? Because that sounds really fun. It is truly a glorious sweater. Oh, Lynn, I believe you. I shall just try to restrain myself until after the live stream to go, what is the word? Not fawn at it, but beundre. Admire is the word. Thank you, brain, for suddenly misfiring in English. But yes, I shall go admire it after the stream. It's always so nice to hang out in the Discord a little bit after the stream, because it's very nice and cozy and good evening. Hello, my sweet. Are you back again? Would you like to join? Hi. Has anyone here spun or knit dog fur? Totally want to get a keeshond. Keeshond? Now. Huh, I have seen people do projects with it. I haven't done it myself. But they look so cute and they get so, from what I hear, a lot of the things get very, very soft and nice. Lynn says Weaving Crunch cancelled. This birthday present will have to be a few days late. Oh no. Are you alright, Lynn? I hope you are taking care of your health. That is so frustrating when you want to do the thing and the thing does not want to be done or cooperate in any way, shape, or form. It's very, very frustrating. I don't know yet what to use the wool for. It's many different types from someone's stash. Oh, mystery wool. That sounds exciting. It can be a very fun, textured project for whatever it is that you are making. And also 5 kilograms is quite a bit of wool, so it can make quite a few projects. My sweater was also from a raw fleece. Oh, that is so impressive. You guys are so impressive. I have not. I know there are people who do from fleece to sweater projects and they are amazing. I have not done that yet. It would be fun too, but I wouldn't even know where to start with what to do first. But oh, they are so cool. Oh, some long wools in the loot. That is very exciting. I hope you have a lot of fun with it. Like lots of different textures and things. I have not spun keeshond myself, but I have a spinning friend who has 2 and spun their yarn. It's not the easiest to spin, but very warm when worked up. Oh, that is so cool. Yeah, I have not spun these glorious little critters. Fur, even though we brushed them and their fur is always all over everywhere, so it would not really be a problem to require any small amounts of floof. But at the moment I have not. I know Yule Tyson has done though with their magnificent floofs yarn fur, and it was such a fun project. Oh, I love Yule's channel. It's so nice and cozy, and her projects are so whimsical and skillful. Very skillful. Let's see if anyone is wondering. Wait. Wonder if Yule is the type to have a auto-playing thing on her channel, because they are always Tyson. Let's see. Please don't have an automatic start. Okay, you do not. Excellent. And also she has similar problems as me with stuff not always fitting us right. Where are you? Wait, can I just mute? Mute site, thank you. We shall mute the whole thing. And then I think there was... I do... Come on, Yule, didn't you make a hat from Wedgie's fur? Tell me I did not just dream that, right? Like, you did actually... Aha! I did actually see it. It was not all in my head. Beast. This is Yule. If you haven't seen their work before, it is... I love it. It's all captioned. There's no talking because of their disabilities, but they have really good cinematography, and the project, I really love the projects. They're just so well done and so fun. It's really enjoyable. A really enjoyable channel. Do recommend for some more cozy bribery and corruption, or binge watching. And I have completely lost my track of what chat has been up to. Jinx Leah says they have also spun cat hair. Spun their calico cat's fur. I found it easier to spin than I thought it would be. She was a short-haired cat. Oh, interesting, because I thought Soot would have a bit too short fur compared to Embla, who has much longer fur, but that is interesting. Helen says, I have too many other time-sensitive things to do the next 3 days and I can't afford the backlash. If I just push physically, oh, that does not sound like a good place to be in at all. Frustrating because I know I can do it in time, but I have to dedicate spoons to something else. Yeah, that is very, very frustrating when that happens. When, like, if I hadn't had a flare-up or body things going on, I would have managed it in time, but then my body does the thing that it has always been doing and I can't after all. I've been having that, like, a video that I'm working on shouldn't take that long to edit, but I've had 2 days just staring at it because I've been sick, and it's so frustrating because, like, you were ahead and now I'm behind. And it's sympathies. It is very, very frustrating when those things hit. Speaking of fiber animals, I wish I could have Angora bunnies. Oh, we had a neighbor who had those, and they are so floofy and nice. I have such interesting projects. Love what you've been working on today. Well, thank you. It is a very doable project, I feel like. It is quite a... Like, triangular shawls are very forgiving, like they're very formulaic, so they're quite easy to do, I think. But then again, I have been known to mislevel knitting entirely because it's been a while since I was a beginner, so I don't quite know what is and isn't difficult for someone, of course. It is big though, so it does take time, as we have proven in how long it has taken me to make the thing. One more. I'm working at an English paper piecing project. Started 3 years ago from being a bed quilt. It is now turned into a wall hanging project. New enthusiasm gained. Oh, the English paper piecing thing I did with Shannon was so much fun. I already wanted to do more of them because it was such a rewarding project. Like, it just grows and grows, and you can do it with scraps, and you can do it while traveling, and it's just so versatile. Yeah, do recommend. A lot of fun. Brooke says, I may be suddenly eyeing my Maine Coon mixes clumps of shedding undercoat. Do it. Why not? Very good thing to be having fun with. And it's there anyway, like already shed. It's not something they're gonna miss. Jinx Leah says, I've got a couple of long-haired orange cats now and it's so tempting. I can understand that. Would be really fun projects though. Allocating spoons can be so frustrating? Yes. Very much so, especially when you know that you need to allocate some spoons to something you don't really want to do, but you know you have to, and then you don't have enough spoons for the things you actually want to do. Very frustrating. No fun at all. Jinx Leah says, I'm also going to be making an English paper pieced robe and bag. I've got all the fabric for it and just finished cutting all the paper pieces. Oh, that is such a marathon piece of work that you have done. And now you get to just stitch them and have fun with it. It's such a nice project to have in your lap and work on as you're doing other stuff or watching something or listening to something. Since it's very visual, you don't really have to, unless you're really planning out your colors, which could be amazing fun. But you can kind of do one at a time, and it's very, very enticing. A whole robe sounds like a very long project. I believe you, but also so much fun. I mean, Bilbo's housecoat is just inspiring crafters everywhere, and for good reasons. Ugh. And such warm colors and so fun, and yeah, I'm not sure I would have the wherewithal to make such a big paper piecing project, but it would be very, very rewarding. I do like my small projects though, where I actually finish within a reasonable-ish time frame. I just got back from planting a tiny fig tree, so this is a nice extension of the day. Oh, that is nice. It's how interesting to live in a place where you can plant fig trees. Very nice. Samoyed dogs are also used as fiber animals, apart from all the other benefits of a dog friend. Dog friends are very good friends. When I was working in the garden as a landscape gardener, 2 of our colleagues had 2 Alaskan Huskies that always came with them and had their own little dog houses on site, and they would join us for lunch and run around and be happy little doggos, and yeah, very, very cute. Little animal friends are very nice companions when one is allowed or able to have them. It's very, very nice. They bring so much joy, and so they just give you love for almost no effort on your part. You just treat them nicely, and it's amazing how much joy you get in return. So very, very worth it. Slam Kitten Void says, I shared a video I saw recommended to me this week about dog yarns with a demo of spinning dog yarn in the spinning channel. How exciting. We have a lot of activity, especially I feel spinning and knitting, but also tatting, very popular channels for talking about their crafts in the Discord. I know I have a couple of friends who are exceptional tatters, way above my skill level, but I somehow, because everyone talks about it being a dying craft, I didn't think a lot of people were doing it, but there are a lot of people having fun with it, which I love to see. Very much love to see, keeping up with older crafts and make sure they do not die out, because we have many enthusiasts wanting to have fun with them. MX Honeyfoot says, craft and chill time. Welcome, Honeyfoot. I hope you're having a good time of day wherever you are. You want to know more about the fig tree too, Brooke? Imagining a dryad popping out of it at some point. Figs are a very cool shape. They have all the at least I remember the climbing figs that we had indoors at the university as being very very textured, and with those enormous leaves and branches that are very, yeah, I come back to the word texture because there's so much going on, very, very satisfying to study. Alex says, I actually got into spinning because of a video where someone spun their dog's hair. She made it look so easy too. That's how they get you. Get you to try to spin your beloved pet's hair, and then you are stuck and always entrenched in the craft of doing all the things. That's fantastic. Not sure why, but every time I tat in public, someone says, what a lost art. Meanwhile, I've been getting so many patterns from a very full social media community. Yeah, that is what I'm seeing too. We hear about it being. In Norway, we talk about red-listed crafts that are dying out, but I see there's such a vibrant community for it. A lot more people than we think are actually both doing it and documenting the doing of it, so it is. No reason to lose hope. Same with needle binding. There are so many people doing needle binding and sprang and other cool fire. We could fill the whole Discord with just various fiber arts and it would still be a very full Discord, but It would also be very difficult to navigate, but I hear talk about spinning, so clearly I need to go back to mine. Well, if they are enticing you, and I understand the spinners are very convincing. They have a very, like from what I'm seeing, they have a very high recruitment rate. Like they're very, very nice and enticing and good at recruiting fellow crafters to their amazing craft toujours. Yesterday I knit my first piece with my handspun yarn. I'm so proud. Oh, you should be. That's amazing to get that far with your spinning that you can actually knit or crochet or anything, do a thing with it. That is amazing. How cool. And thanks you for sharing that with us. Lynn says, I got into spinning when someone did a live where they showed their e-spinner. I was like, wait, I can spin without treadling. Yeah, e-spinners have done so much good for people who are struggling with treadling. It's amazing. It's such a good accessibility tool, and a very small for small spaces and small apartments. I love it. I hear people talk positively about e-spinners all the time, and I'm just like, yes, I'm here for this kind of craft accessibility 100%. Nico is heading out to plant some seeds. Have a good one, Nico. I hope you're having a good time planting seeds before the rain catches you. Spinning is the best. I was suspecting you would say that, Alex. Like, I'm not at all surprised that you would be among the people actively recruiting to this most exciting craft. It's just so impressive. I know it was a craft that, like, so many people could do before the spinning jenny was a thing, and I'm still amazed at just the speed and dexterity and the evenness that people spin with. It's just awe-inspiring. Stripy Crayon says they have been working on some clay whorls for drop spindle. Does anyone have suggestions for motifs to decorate them with? I'm just thinking of the little rune stones from Viking Age finds that have like little blessings and little like cute things on them. Like I would go for something like that, like some kind of positive message to yourself, or something that like looks nice as it spins. Like do spindles just spin too fast when they are drop spindles that you can't really see anything? Like if you did a little color thing, would you actually be able to see it as it spins, or would it just get all entirely too blurry because the spinning be spinning too fast? Make some sheep on them? Oh, Stripy Crayons and Joanna both are voting for sheep, a very popular motif. Brooke is suggesting a good spiral. Maybe you can do stripy sheep or spiraling sheep. That could be cool. I find spinning with a drop spindle really fun so far. Even if it goes slowly, spindle goes wee when you have yarn. Yeah, it is magical. I mean, that little chat with Evie when I got to try it for the first time was so much fun. And I mean, she is so proficient. Oh, I can't hold a candle to her skill, but her joy of the craft too. I mean, I see that with you guys talking about spinning too. Like, just the joy of the craft is just so inspiring to see. I just love people who are enthusiastic about their craft, their thing, like whatever it is. I find that I can get really deep into a YouTube video if someone is super excited, even if I don't share their passion for their craft or their hobby. It's just so nice to see someone really passionate about a thing they love that is just infectious in a good way. I love it. Joanna says a classical motif would be a circle with a dot in it. Can be seen in so many, so many old accessories from antiquity to the Middle Ages. Oh yeah, gotta love a good classic. Although make sure there are, especially for clay fire pits and stuff like that for cooking meat, archaeologists are trying to be good about putting in coins from modern age in them, so that if archaeologists find soot from what they think is a fire pit, that they know that it's a modern one, because it can be difficult for archaeologists to distinguish sometimes. Alex says, it's a deep rabbit hole. Before you know it, you'll want your own sheep. I mean, I already do. I have a penchant for goats, although they are trouble brewing. But oh my goodness, a good mischievous goat is so cute, and their noses are so soft, but so are sheep's noses. Like, their little muscle is just, it's so soft. Hi? Hi, my darling. Didn't you get more attention? Not enough attention. We're talking about spinning. I'm turning your beloved wool into yarn. Is that what you want, huh? You just want to eat the wool and fight the wool and kick the wool. Because you love a good piece of felted wool, huh? Lynn says, doesn't everyone want their own sheep? I do think we are in a very small part of the internet or community where, most of us do want that. But yeah. And Brooke says, I finished my first medieval style hazel hurdle yesterday. Congrats, Brooke. That is very nice. I'd love to see people actually finishing projects too. You are very, very talkative today. I am hardly keeping up with with chat. It's how exciting. There's something kind of primal about spinning. It's just so satisfying on a deep level. Yeah, and it's just so magical. Like, you go from this thing, like, fur directly off of a sheep's back or an animal's back, and you turn it into craft materials like yarn. It's just so magical on so many levels. Just people forget how amazing of a technology that is, how much that could do when we figure that out. Just super amazing. Ooh, we have been talking so much that we are about to have some more ads, which makes sense as to why I am a bit thirsty. Sample bias, I hardly know her. Exactly, Lynn. Honeyfoot talking about spinning, I think. I mean, all it takes is practice and good tools, but basically your muscles need to learn the motions, just like knitting and crochet. Yeah, that is a very good point. Like everything, once it becomes muscle memory, it is much easier to do, and until then it's kind of archaic and mysterious. But yeah, spend enough time and it just kind of becomes second nature, which is also its own kind of amazing. Let's be real. The fact that we can just sort of program with time and effort automatic movements is also pretty cool. And Brooke also says it's great for the brain, bilateral stimulation and all that. Yes, we do love us some bilateral stimulation and the challenge of crocheting and spinning and knitting and all the things and making things in 3D space and thinking about the math of cutting out fabric and following patterns and just being creative in different ways is so satisfying and so good for the brain. Letting it do thinking on different matters in different ways. Kitty says my nose is soft too. It is, but she's not too happy about me squishing it. Though maybe the goats and the sheep are not either. Kitties also have very soft ears. And we do squish them a bit to hopefully help them when the vet needs to examine them. A visitor on screen? Indeed, she's been in and out all day, being very supportive, very companionable. They've had a very long day today, so she's having a lot of snoozy time for herself, which is very good. The library chair says, over here practicing. Do you mean dropping or dry-upping? My spindle. So many spinners in chat. It's amazing. Magical laces makes me think of bakers who can measure flour weight just by hand, super absolutely, because they have been doing it for so long. Yeah, they just see how much they need to add. It's for any craft or any technique, it's just like they just know. I mean, you kind of develop it as you go. I mean, I'm used to like a lot of salts, a lot of chemicals, a lot of that have crystallized. Usually like a gram is close-ish to a tablespoon when you measure it out. Obviously, different materials have different densities and stuff, but you kind of get used to like if the procedure says that you need 5 grams, you know kind of approximately the size of beaker and size of measuring thing that you need to do the thing, because you do get a feeling, you do develop a feeling for these things after having done it for some time. And that applies to all kind of skills and things. Library chair says, I did indeed mean dropping. I was typing one-handed as I picked it off the floor. I mean fair. Very much multitasking all over the place. I feel that I would be doing similar things if I was trying to spin live, because there would be a lot of spindle dropping on the floor action going on. Probably a fair amount of noise, which we are not trying to reduce so that there is not too much unexpected noise going on. It's really impressive what the human body is capable of. It really is. It's super amazing. Like, when we started learning more about some of the enzyme processes in biochemistry, I just get more amazed. Like, how do these things most of the time act in tandem and actually work and do what they're supposed to do? I mean, sometimes they fail and we get sick, but most of the time the body is doing so many different processes at the same time, depending on, you know, activity level or sleep cycle or various things. And it's just, the more I learn about things, the more impressed I am. It's just a bit like indigo dyeing. Like, who figured out indigo dyeing first and how did that happen? How long did it take to figure out all the different steps involved in indigo dyeing or other dyeing? It's just mind-blowing to me how these complex processes have come to be, and I just kind of want to, I wish there was a way, maybe we will one day figure out, like, first this step and then this step and then this step. Like, how did they actually discover the various steps involved? Brooke says, it was amazing in photography class when I could tell the exact temperature by hand to the degree that was right for developing the film. The brain is amazing. Yeah, it just learns and takes these shortcuts. It's just so impressive. Jinx Leah says it's just a baby fig tree, not even a foot tall. Can't wait for it to grow. Oh, watching trees grow is so satisfying, and trees are so beautiful. They're just, I want to plant so many trees. Like I've only been able to planted one cherry tree once. And I have this dream of like planting one tree every year. If we ever get a garden, that would be so cool, but we do not have a garden yet. I wish. But trees are such amazing creations by pieces of botany. They are just, oh, I love trees. Stripey Crayon says, the number of times I have glued my first drop spindle back together shows you that you are not alone in this. Yeah, I have a feeling there should be many, many droppings and many. I mean, I would get the appeal of supported spindle spinning, because then you don't have to drop it as a nice way to work. But I just kind of find it fun that there are many different ways of working too. Never just one answer. Madam Neat, will you be less grumpy about the current conditions? Are you happy if I sit like this? Okay, that is kind of nice. Supported on the side. My parents got a little baby fig tree maybe 2 or 3 years ago, and it already bears an impressive amount of fruit for being so baby. That is always so interesting too. Like some trees take like 10, 20 years to bear fruit, and then other trees are just out there bearing fruit straight away. Almost straight away. They usually need a couple of years, but there's so much variety. And then there's the whole, like I think it was Pine Trees from The Secret Life of Trees, which is an amazing book, do recommend. The Secret Lives of Trees. It was a very educational little piece of literature. And they talked about, I think it was pine trees, so spruce and pine, that don't always fruit, but when they fruit, they usually fruit at the same time, so that birds, because they eat so many of their seeds, would be so overwhelmed by the amount of seeds that they would still have some seeds survive and become new baby trees. Whereas if they gave the same amount of fruit every year, the bird population would adapt, which is very, very clever. For botany, I think that is really cool. Slayer says, I had one in Texas and still have a couple of jars of jam from it. I'm hoping that they'll last until this one bears fruit. What are you all doing living in magical places where you can just plant fig trees and get fruit? Sounds very mystical to me. Very magical. Although when I lived in the far north, the seasons are so short that you can't have fruit trees because they don't have time to go from flower to fruit to ripe fruit. So to them, apples and pears were kind of mystical because the best they could do were berry bushes. But in the south of Norway where I grew up, apples and plums and pears were quite common and quite prolific. So I have grown up with fruit trees, just kind of the more northern varieties. Cherries too can grow well here, and they get some amazingly sweet fruit. Or tart for pie making. My grandmother had one that the berries were so dark they were almost black, and they made the best cherry preserves. Really, really nice. Joanna says, I think I may have recommended The Secret Lives of Trees to you. We talked about it in a different live stream, Joanna. And I had actually already read it, because it's been a few years now since I read it. It might have been before I started this channel. Though I am not sure. I'm not quite sure, but I remember we talked about it and us both having read it. But yeah, I shall recommend it to anyone interested in The Secret Life of Trees, as in the title, because it is so cool. It was such a good book. I love it when I just find books that just... another favorite is... Oh god, what is the... Braiding Sweetgrass. That is a piece of art by a master storyteller. My spouse has an audiobook subscription as a gift from their grandmother, so we have like a shared account on that. So we get to listen to a lot of books. And having Braiding Sweetgrass read by the author herself, it was just so amazing. I would like listen to one story and then put the book down because I needed to just sort of enjoy and think about the story and sort of enjoy the book. And I would forget that these are, you know, it's not a piece of fiction, it is a piece of her life, talking about essays, talking about her own life and her own thoughts and her own experiences. But it was just, her storytelling is so vivid and so alive. Like, she's such an excellent storyteller, and when you get it spoken to you by the author herself in the author's own voice, their own words, it was such a treat of a book. Maybe I should go back to it. It's been a while since I read it. Could probably read it again, but that was a treat. That was just a joy to be enjoying. Such a thoughtful human being, just very reflected and very just such an amazing book. If you like The Secret Life of Trees, you might also like What a Fish Knows. I shall be taking that recommendation, Joanna, because I have not read What a Fish Knows. That sounds like something quite cool. Let me look. I have been looking for things to read. What a Fish Knows. Thank you. I shall be checking that out. I do love me a good piece of, like, I enjoyed fiction a lot more when I was younger, but these days I'm also really enjoying non-fiction because there's some super amazing, really well written stuff out there that just gives you a new perspective on things, and I love being shown new perspectives on things that I had not considered before. It's one of the reasons my favorite podcast of all time, I have mentioned this one before, but it is Hidden Brain. Like, I will listen to other podcasts for, you know, my job, such as Writing Excuses and the editing podcast for making this video content, but Hidden Brain helps me be a better human and understand my own brain and other people's, you know, thinking processes. And you have all these psychology, psychiatry, research experts talking about concepts and how these things work and why they work. And I'm just, I find that is the one podcast that, like, if I had to choose only one, that would be the one, because it's so cool. Hazels might be my new favorite plant, and Honeyfoot too. I find a hazelnut plant an impressive example of this too. Yeah, hazels are so cute, and they also grow here in the cold north, so we are very familiar with them. Here they grow like a bit of like a shrub, like they have a lot of root shoots, and they got quite... There's something a bit wonky about this one. But yeah, hazels are pretty, and when we went to school, we would love to eat like the unripe fruit, because they would ripen while we were, and get eaten by the birds while we were on summer break, so we didn't get to do that. So we would just run around eating the unripe green fruits. That's a fun thing to do at recess. They are a lot of fun. I planted 2-3 years ago, and I'm waiting anxiously until I can coppice them. Oh, that is a cool thing to do, yeah. I enjoyed that as a craft, because you can do, like the Japanese coppicing trees and making sure that they can get wood without clearing down a lot of forest. Like, that is good. good strategy for that. I'm leaning too far forwards for the crochet cam, aren't I? But I'm finding my back is getting a little bit tired. As it would, we have been sitting here for, well, I've been sitting here for over 2 hours already, setting things up, but we've almost been chatting together for 2 hours as well. Which is quite exciting. I always worry that time will pass slowly and then we get into it and then I'm like, is it over already? What happened? Where did the time go? We actually had a really old hazel in the garden of the house I grew up in, and we would collect the nuts in fall. Yeah, we could never actually collect the ripe nuts because they were very popular with both birds and rodents. So for wild hazelnut, they usually got to them first, which, I mean, feeding your local wildlife is quite important and nice. But yeah, I haven't actually found wild harvested hazelnuts because usually there's already a hole in them from a hungry critter getting there first, which they do need that. In our community garden, there's a hazel bush too, and the nuts taste really well. I have only had store-bought hazelnuts, even though I live in areas with hazel. I shall need to try to go foraging again and see if I can find even one nut that has not already been claimed by a hungry critter, just so I can see if there is a big taste difference between the store-bought ones and the home foraged ones. I imagine there might be. Although we shall have to go through the summer seasons first. And spring. How much do we have left? Yeah, okay, it's still a fair bit. We're definitely not getting done with that today, but I have faith that maybe next time we shall manage, and then we shall be done, and we shall have to figure out what to do next. Love hazelnuts, so yummy. They are so yummy. When I was a child, we had these Yule little nut cookies, and I have not been able to find the recipe for this because the hazelnut cookies that I've found as an adult are really dry. So they have a really good snap and a crunch, but the ones I remember from my childhood were chewy on the inside, and I really enjoy a good chewy cookie. And there were these like tiny little drop cookies with little dent for the hazelnut, and all the hazelnut cookies that I find are not quite the same. So I'm like, where did this recipe come from? Probably an old cookbook somewhere, but I have a fair few of cookbooks from the previous generation and I have not found it yet. So if you know of a recipe for chewy hazelnut cookies, and they're mostly just nut flour, like you just grind the hazelnuts and might mix them with a little bit of sugar and eggs, I think, and butter probably. It might be a little bit of regular flour too, like a little bit of wheat flour just to bind them together, but I have not been able to find how it actually works. Because usually they just get quite short, like either crumbly or crunchy, not chewy. Shall have to experiment some more. Does it look like I am going to make it with the yarn I have left? That is a good... Wait, we're not supposed to do a triple crochet here. That is a good question, Alex, and I have to say the ball of yarn has not shrunk over much, so I think maybe we can do it. It will be really satisfying. I'm gonna have a tiny button on. I think maybe we can do it with this tiny ball of yarn that we have left, and that I don't have to go into my stash and find a new one. That's gonna be my guess, but we shan't figure out until next time because we are almost out of time. Brooke suggests maybe lard or shortening, not butter. Perhaps. I also have, when I've had success making chewy chocolate chip cookies and oat cookies and things like that, I have used syrup as part of the sweetening rather than just sugar. So maybe we need to get some syrup as well. Honeyfoot suggests that were they hazelnut macaroons by any chance? Because that's what it sounds like. Interesting. I don't think they were macaroons because they were quite coarse in texture. And that's also something with, I think they are quite complex with egg whites and like a bit of step-by-step process. And I remember them being quite fast to throw together and just spoon out on a baking tray. So I don't think they were macaroons, but it's useful to try it out. The art says here, our apricot tree. Oh, that's another magical tree that I've just heard about in stories. Planted from a nut in a vase 6 years ago. Just got in flower this week. So light pink and delicate in the concrete backyard. Seeing a tree become a tree, so satisfying. I agree. My grandmother once had a orange tree from a seed growing in the windowsill. It did struggle because it didn't get the right sort of seasons for it to thrive, but just seeing her be able to do that, it got quite tall towards the end too. Like, it's a lot of fun, and the flowers are so pretty and delicate. I really like citrus trees because their leaves are shiny and really pretty. I find this really cute. Brooks says butter will make a crunchy cookie, but lard or shortening will make it more chewy. Interesting. Then I might have to try that. I have not actually been aware of that difference. Thank you, Brooke. I shall try to remember that because I like these little cooking tidbits that we can use for experimenting within. And Lynn says, as a kid I used to, but buy maybe, these crescent shaped hazelnut biscuits, and I don't know if they still exist, but I crave them so much. They were halfway between crumbly and chewy, and they had like little dents in them, so you could cut them in 4. Ooh, that sounds quite familiar, like that again, like crumbly on the outside and chewy on the inside. I wouldn't cut them in 4 because ours were quite small, like a little bit more than a mouthful, but I imagine that they would be very nice, slightly bigger as well. I found that people have so many different but similar experiences. I also remember, like, I was very surprised when I saw British scones and like drop biscuits for the first time because they're just like one round unit. Because when I grew up, scones they're still like baking soda, soda bread type things, but they're coarse or like dark flour, and we would make them about the size of a small plate, and you would have 4 on a baking tray at a time, and you would cut little lines before you bake them and stab them with a fork, and at the end they came out quite big, and you would break them in 4, and we would have them with soup. And they were very easy to make if you didn't have any bread in the house and you wanted something bready to go with the soup. They're very good fresh. But that was what scones were when I grew up, were these dark flour things that you made to have with soup, or if you didn't have any bread for breakfast, and not the puffy little white flour, cute and very tasty baked goods that you put with double cream and jam. I had to learn that was quite a different creation altogether. Both are really good though. Lynn says they were indeed very small. I have no idea why they were partitioned that way. Oh, interesting. Because ours too had a little dent on top, like a little thumbprint. I think it was just for aesthetic reasons, maybe so they would bake evenly, but yeah. The mysteries of mysterious trying to recreate baked goods one can barely remember, but kind of remember craving anyway. Stripy Crayon says, I know this would change the flavor too much, but ginger molasses cookies are chewy, but ginger snaps are hard. So liquid sugar does make a difference. Oh yeah, I have a recipe for ginger. I think I would call them ginger snaps, but they are also like they are supposed to be baked until they are just barely set, and they were like the ones that the family recipe that we have are fairly flat, like they float out quite a bit, and when you grab it, like it holds its shape, but if you hold it upright from the edge, you will kind of see that it kind of bends ever so slowly, as it is so soft that it will deform, as if you are holding it by the edge. And they are so tasty. They are so ginger heavy, which I love, and then you balance it with obscene amounts of sugar, and I only make them for the Yule season, but also so many cookie recipes are so big, especially for the Yule season. They are like 10 kilograms of flour, and I'm like, I am not a household of 10 people having guests every day for the month of December. I think I shall pare this down a little bit. I have also been scratching little drawings of sheep on the second drop spindle, and they make me so happy. Oh, that is so cute! Joanna is also agreeing that sheep for the win, but yeah, that is such a happy little thing to be doing. Like, have tools that make you happy. That is such a joy. Why are picots so fiddly? Fiddly little things to crochet. Feels like I'm going forwards for all the other stitches, and then in picot I'm kind of going a little bit backwards. Sorry I was absent for a while. No worries, Max. That is not... We do not take attendance. We are free to come and go as is required and enjoyed. I think this space is very much a volunteer open space. Both kitties really love this barrel. We call it a barrel because it's like it's just straight up, and it has like 2 holes where they can play inside, and then it's all full of the fiber that they really enjoy to scratch, but they both just love sleeping on top of it. It's just the best, and it fits their little round bodies so much. Like, she can lie and be a complete little circle, and she will fit perfectly within, and it is super adorable. Oh, I see, we are about to have our last set of ads for the evening, so I feel like I'm quite on time with when I feel like I need a drink of water, because an ad break usually follows shortly thereafter. I noticed that... Wait, we shall do that after the ad break, I think. I don't think I shall read it quite fast enough before that. Hello, Embla. Are you crying? Are you just talking to spouse? Have to go. Very old dog tells me she has her needs. Have a good one, Lee Art. I hope you have a good time with your little pet friend. Let's see, Max. I noticed that daylight savings has just began, so I realized that the time in your location has changed as well. It has not, Max. This is a pet peeve of mine. I mean, daylight savings time is bad enough as it is. We know that it confuses animals, it confuses our own brains, it has a higher risk of heart disease, and, you know, the benefits that people thought were going to happen when they introduced daylight savings time has not manifested, because LED lights and stuff are so cheap now that you don't really save money on electricity in terms of things. So we still struggle with daylight savings time, although a lot of people don't like it. But not only do we have to struggle with daylight savings time, but daylight savings time happens at different times in America and in Europe. So when I want to meet up with my friends and talk to them about interesting things, there is a little gap in autumn and in spring of usually about 2 to 3 weeks where the hours are suddenly askew and I'm no longer 6 hours from Evie, for instance. Suddenly it's 7, and it makes arranging things very hard because our brains are like, is it forwards? Is it backwards? Is it... Wait. See, I made it wrong there again because daylight savings time in spring, the clock goes forward, so Evie would be 5 hours from me rather than 6. See, I'm already messing up, and this is why I have a gripe with... Lynn says, and in Australia and in New Zealand. Do you mean that daylight savings time happens at the same time as the Americas in Australia and New Zealand, or as Europe? I'm guessing Americas because the Australia and New Zealand is closer to America than Europe, that they have the same time skewness, but I just don't like it. It is not helpful. Stripy Crayon says, wasn't daylight savings originally meant to help farmers, but it doesn't actually help anymore. All the farmers I know don't like daylight savings and usually don't abide by it. Like, there was a whole documentary about... Lynn says neither. Oh no, that's just confusing. That's even worse. Also, Australia and New Zealand has their own date that they change things. Oh, that's just... no. But yeah, there was this whole documentary in Norway about this old sibling couple who took over their parents' farm and has just lived there ever since. And they don't abide by summertime. They just have the same time all year round because the cows expect to be milked at 6 a.m. and 6 p.m. and not an hour later or sooner, so they just ignore daylight savings altogether. I had not heard that it was to help farmers. I had heard that it was to help like office workers and people coming back from the factory so they wouldn't have to use so much electricity in the evening, but I could be wrong. In either case, I'm not a fan. It confuses my brain and it takes me a couple of weeks to get back to the routines I am used to. If I'm not mistaken, some areas of Australia do daylight savings and some don't. Oh no. Isn't it Arizona that does not do daylight savings in the US, but everyone else does? So like, you have half of the year where there's one time slot and half of the year where it's different. Why? Why? It just makes things more confusing. Not a fan. To make it lighter when children are going to school, I thought. Perhaps, I don't know. There we are. 2. And I think that is a good place to stop. Magical Lace says, yeah, I am in Arizona and we don't do daylight savings. I wish the rest of the world would follow, to be honest. I think that would be a lot easier for everyone involved. I also get so confused. Like now the mornings are light and the sun is getting up in the morning and I'm like, oh yes, it's so nice. I get up with the sun, life is good, my day rhythm is happy. And then the daylight savings happens and it's dark again in the morning and I'm like, oh no, I had light mornings and now they are gone. But I think that is all for this time. This has been very nice. Let's see, we have done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 repeats today. That is quite good. And what do we have left? We have Oops, oh, that's quite a few. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.5. That seems doable. It seems like we can manage that the next time we hang out, and then it shall be finished. How exciting! And I will actually have to, and then it'll be spring and I won't feel the need to wear it, but it shall be good. And I shall try to see if I can look for lace pattern and see if I can figure out what book it is from. Lace book. In Germany, without summertime, it would become dawn at 3 a.m. in high summer? Yes. In Norway, we don't really have dawn in the north when it's high summer. It's just following the horizon all the way around in the north when you pass the Arctic Circle, and it's super interesting. I have to say, like, it's a thing in its own right, isn't it? Anyway, this has been lovely as usual. I shall hopefully see you again next week. Crossing fingers. If you haven't joined, then you can join our Discord to see if I am well enough, or as in last time, whether I have internet or not, because winter storms have been a thing. But usually the only consideration is whether or not I am actively having a migraine and sick. But I try to do live streams around this time, daylight savings notwithstanding, once a week, but hopefully we shall hang out next week as well, if that is something you are looking forward to. So for now, goodbye, have a good one.